This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Foresight Podcast, where CEOs of small to global companies share their insights. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because top CEOs know how to listen and be concise. So, in just a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Earl, for having me today on your podcast. I very much appreciate it. So, my name is Kristen Miller. I am the CEO and founder of a company called With Heart Project, and we provide professional development, training, coaching, and consulting to schools and school districts all over the United States. I've been in education for about 15 years now, and most of that was as a high school math teacher, but I also taught career technical education, AVID, and did a little bit as an assistant principal. So I've taken all that experience and now created a company where I give back in a little bit of a different way.
Awesome. Well, what's the best thing about being the CEO?
Best thing about being the CEO. So, one of the things that we get used to in public education is having a lot of rules and red tape. And so, being the CEO, you can take a little bit more of an out of the box and creative approach to solutions and then find a way to fit them in the system. So, there's that. And then also, I just absolutely love building relationships with everybody that I come in contact with. That is my passion and want to inspire and empower individuals. And I get to do that on a daily basis. So,
Very good. Good for you. Now, I hear from other CEOs that leading their team and seeing what lies ahead on the road ahead, can be a real challenge. What are your thoughts?
oh, I completely agree. I completely agree, especially with the pandemic going on. Education, the world of education has been completely rocked. And even though I'm out here in California, we have vaccines being put out there all over the place, but we still are unsure how that's going to trickle down to students so that we can get back on campus. It's been incredibly challenging, but one thing that I do know is that this whole situation is one giant trauma. And when we get back, there's going to be a lot of work to do to get kids back into routines and expectations in that way. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think that even though it's been incredibly challenging to predict how things are going to pan out, we're all going to come out very strong after this.
Well said. Well said. Well, let me ask you this then. What piece of insight do you want to share with other CEOs?
So I think there's a couple of different things. First and foremost, I think we can all say over the past year, flexibility is key. When we get to the top of a company, oftentimes it's easy to lose sight of the people that we're serving that are on the ground actually doing the work.
Mhm.
And so we may have an idea in our head about how to get from point A to point B and all the steps that need to be taken to get there. But if we're not taking into account those that are actually doing the work and that we're serving, we're going to lose them. And we don't want that. That's where a lot of really amazing individuals help propel society and our companies forward. So that's that flexibility piece, being inclusive, making sure that you are listening to those that you are serving, and not only listening to their words, but the unspoken pieces that they, for one reason or another, don't want to say out loud at that time. Being humble, and it's okay to not know all the answers all the time, but having the resources and the resourcefulness to be able to find those answers is incredibly important. Being inclusive. We have an incredibly divided country right now. And a big part of the work that I'm doing is trying to restore and repair the harm that's been done from all of this division and upheaval. And so, as leaders, the more that we can model and practice inclusion in a variety of ways, the better we're going to do overall. And then finally, just in terms of being a leader, it's one thing to I come from the lens of social emotional learning, restorative practices, trauma-informed practices. That's the training that I provide, which is very supportive and encouraging. As a leader, as a CEO, you absolutely have to provide a high level of support and encouragement, but that needs to be balanced with expectations and accountability. If you don't have all of those things in place, you're not going to make true transformational change. So I think I'd like to challenge all CEOs out there to take a look at themselves and how they're operating. And if they're not operating according to some of those pieces, maybe consider a different way of doing things.
Well said yet again. Well, what other successful CEOs like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on my podcast?
I have a couple. So first is Dr. Anthony Muhammad. He owns a company called New Frontier 21 Consulting. I had the opportunity to observe him speak during one of my PhD immersions recently, and he is doing some amazing and groundbreaking work in education. So he's one. The other is a gentleman named Eric Westendorf. He is the CEO of a company called LearnZillion, and LearnZillion has created digital resources in English language arts and mathematics, and has just done some amazing things over the years. So those
Excellent.
two would be great.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now for the final question, how do you celebrate a win?
These days, I'm so busy that even something as simple as taking a nap is a way to celebrate a win for me. But I love going on a hike, going and seeing a movie if and when the theaters open, spending time with family and friends, taking a little trip here and there, anything to just sort of relax and decompress.
Indeed. Well, Kristen, it's been a pleasure having you on today. How can people find you?
So you can visit my website. It's withheartproject.com, and there's a variety of ways to contact me via the website. I'm also all over social media. And thank you again so much. I am so appreciative of the opportunity to speak with you today.
This is Earl Amin with the 2024 Side Podcast. For more insights, go to LinkedIn and search for The Gray Owl Company. Kristen, thank you so very much.
Thank you.